Dr. Scott Atlas, thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you back on the show.
Yeah, happy to be here.
To begin, what is your reaction to this injunction?
Well, the injunction is really crucial and late in coming, frankly, because the censorship issues, particularly during the pandemic, were prominent and really were very harmful to the public good during 2020. The reason the injunction was issued was because there's overt evidence of the government colluding with the media companies, and that seems to me to be an overt violation of the law. We have to remember that this kind of censorship of information that was very harmful to the public good was done during 2020 by the tech companies alone during the most important decisions about lockdowns, deciding what truth was instead of fulfilling the role of the media in a free society, which is to inform the public and let the public, come to their own conclusions.
And Dr. Alice, expanding on that, you were part of the White House coronavirus task force. You felt firsthand the censoring effects of big tech. How does this case play into the public's ability to view those differing opinions or debates online?
Well, I think it's really critical. First of all, in a general sense, freedom of speech is really the essential first and foremost freedom in a free country, because everything stems from that. But secondly, it illustrates what was done in 2020 and 2021 and then 2022 and even now today, which is the use of propaganda. Part of swaying the public in this pandemic was done by suppressing information, the free exchange of ideas. And it was also used to vilify opposing views, to demonize opposing views, and to give the censorship gave the false impression of a consensus somehow that existed, which was really, frankly, wrong. There was neither a consensus. In fact, the people that were pushing the consensus about things like vaccines stopping the spread of infection, and it was a, quote, pandemic of the unvaccinated, and all the other things, including that masks worked and people were dangerous if they disagreed with these things, that is propaganda reminiscent of some of the most heinous regimes in modern history, including current countries that we really oppose tremendously in terms of the restriction of freedoms, like communist China and even places like North Korea. The government really broke all standards by colluding with tech to suppress speech, instead of giving the public more information like a free society demands and letting the public be persuaded by the data.
And Dr. Atlas, we are heading into election season, and these are becoming very crucial topics. And it seems we're seeing a rise in terms of misinformation labels and AI-generated content. Where do we go here in terms of free speech?
Well, the solution to misinformation is more information. The solution to so-called dangerous information is to really let the public have all the information, all the facts. Once you have a government or the media picking and choosing what they think are facts, first of all, they were wrong in the pandemic about so many things that they said were correct. But secondly, once it's obvious, and it is very obvious, that freedom of information was suppressed, you lose trust in those institutions. The CDC has undermined itself, particularly with the help of people that were leading the guidance on public health with COVID, like Drs. Fauci, Birx, etc., in collusion with many people even after they left the Trump administration. Under the Biden administration, we now have a loss of trust, and I think that's worse. They created the problem. We need to restore all of the essential freedoms this country was founded on, and it was founded, by the way, on limiting the power of the government specifically. And in this injunction recognizes the overreach of government to the point of being really illegally restricting civil liberties, particularly freedom of speech.
Dr. Scott Atlas, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.